mostly vegetarian, vegan, or raw vegan. And I came to Arnold 20 years ago when I thought I was dying. I'm 45 now, so I was 25. And I had every stomach ailment you can think of. It was almost comical. Remember this, guys? I was diagnosed with spastic colon, IBS, GERD, reflux, hernia, ulcers. Yeah. Bleeding ulcers, real hot. So every stomach issue you can think of. And at the same time, we lost my grandmother, my mom's mom. It was really hard. I helped take care of her. And I broke up with my college boyfriend, love of my life. So looking back, there was a lot of emotional ties. And what the doctor told me was, I was vegetarian at the time. Actually, I was vegan then. He said, can't be vegan and heal. You have to eat chicken and rice, white rice and chicken, which is the opposite of what you should eat, but that's what they tell you. So I was like, enough. And actually, at the time, I was taking Nexium, which they told me I was going to have to take all my life. Tell me if I'm going too fast, James. I get really excited. I was taking Nexium, and I was going to be a spokesmodel for Nexium, which my ego was like, you go, girl, you know? Like, but I was, go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead. You're so kind. I was taking Nexium. They said you have to have hiatal hernia surgery. You're going to have all these stomach issues all your life. You're going to be on Nexium all your life. You're going to, you know, basically it was like the most grim, depressing appointments ever. And I was just like, enough. So I wanted a new way. So God, and when these four talk, anything I say, please take only what resonates. You know, I try to transmute all this to love and light. I don't want to trigger anyone. I don't want and hurt anyone's feelings. I just want to spread love. So I'm all about love, right? So anything I say just takes whatever speaks to your heart. So I'm going to be a spokesmodel. I already got interviewed. I'm going for a photo shoot. And then I was like, there has to be a different way. Like something in my soul said, stop. You are going to promote this product so other people take it. But my ego was like, I'm going to be in magazines, you know? So I researched what I can do. I heard about raw vegan online. I looked up raw vegan restaurants, and Arnold came up. I lived an hour away. I started coming to Arnold's, and I went completely raw vegan. No lie, it was the only thing I did. The only thing I changed. I didn't know about the emotional component then. I didn't know about meditating and praying. I just went raw vegan, and I completely healed every stomach issue I had. Completely, like, and then I called Nexium and I said, I can't do this. I have to tell you the truth. I stopped taking it because I went raw vegan. And I was demoted. I did not, you know, I wasn't in magazine. So, when I look back, it was like the different moments in my life when I was choosing love or ego, you know, money or spiritual, healing or going mainstream of what I'm being told. So that was how I started doing that. They never came back. None of it. Like, no lie. And I went to the doctor and they were just like, oh, you know, we must have messed up. Like, it must have been a mistake. So then, I was 25, went through that. Then I was getting married and I was stressed. I was 30, started having panic attacks. And I was like, I thought I was dying, you know, like so severe that I felt like I was having a stroke. I couldn't move half my body. Felt like I was having a heart attack. And I'm like, what's going on? So I did what I knew and I went raw vegan. Completely stopped. And I looked amazing for my wedding day. Let me say, that time I did it 3 months. And I wanted to lose weight for my wedding, I'll admit, you know. So I went completely raw vegan, felt amazing. Then I got married, and then we went to Ruth Chris Steakhouse on my honeymoon, and I completely went off being vegan. And when I look back, it's amazing to me how my diet influenced my life. My ex-husband was not vegan, you know, didn't want me to be. So I went away from that. He wanted me to eat meat while I was pregnant, because then I went back to vegetarian. I went back to eating meat while I was pregnant. and the different things in my life that I look at that I had, and then when I went to raw vegan, like literally everything went away. So then my next step was concussions. So I had 5, I lose track. I had 5 concussions in 3 years. But I had prayed to stay home with my kids. I was working 2 jobs, running around like a maniac. I was recently separated, and I had left everything. So I had nothing. And I was working so much, stressed out, you know, but trying to put on this front of everything's perfect for my kids and everyone else. Trying to be like super, you know, and males too, but in general, like the superhero, the super female, we can do it all. And inside I was a mess. So I said, God, let me just stay home with my kids. 3 days later, I got hit in the head and I stayed home with my kids. And my friend said, why didn't you pray for a billionaire? Because that would have been a lot easier. And I was like, where were you? So then I was about to go back to work. I got hit again. And it was so humbling because I was such my physical health was amazing. Gym twice a day, you know, and then I couldn't have that. I couldn't even lift anything, you know. My parents know, thank God for my parents. I couldn't have done it without them, and I would have lost my kids. So, you know, they helped me when I really needed it. And yeah, so anyway, I said, okay, what can I do? So I went back to raw vegan. No lie, and I'm up there for this. When I came in here, I couldn't read. My concussions were so bad that if I looked at print, I vomited. You know, I couldn't read at all, and I was getting divorced, and I would just sit there and I couldn't read a thing. Doing raw vegan, I came to Arnold's and Gangster Vegan. When Arnold wasn't open, I went to Gangster Vegan, which I love too, and I was able to read. I was sitting in a Gangster Vegan, and there was a magazine there, and I'm like, and I picked it up, and I'm like, oh my God, I can read! And the guy's looking at me like, yeah, that's great. And it helped me get my sight back, which I needed, to homeschool my kids during COVID. So that was amazing. I looked at the emotional component then. That's when I started going deep into like, why is this happening? You know, why do I not want to see? Like I didn't want to see, the divorce stuff was hard. Like I didn't want to see what he was saying. I didn't want to see the truth, you know? So I started doing some of it then. And now comes the big drum roll, please. Then I get hit by a tow truck. Boom, boom, boom. But somehow, through all of this, my faith was unwavering. Was it not, Dad? They'd be like, everyone would be like even this tow truck hit me double the speed limit, wasn't looking, blew his brakes out, pushed me for a block. He hit me 4 times. So at that point, I was like disabled, technically permanently disabled. And I got out, and I'm like, oh my God, everyone's really upset. What can I do to make this better, you know? So I started singing It's Raining Men. There were men all over the place. And like somehow like my attitude and my faith never wavered. Never. Like, I honestly don't know how, except I thank God that He made me who I am. That I have this unicorn with me, you know, that I have this rainbow energy that somehow I always, and I tell my parents, they'd be like, oh my God, you have no money, how are you going to survive? And I'm like, I'm just going to manifest it. And I call it woman fasting, by the way. And literally, like, every time I needed something, it was there. And I'll talk about that later, but it wasn't just that, it was being grateful. So all that I got through, right? I got through that. I still have, which is why I wear the hat, I still have issues with it, but I'm able to read. You know, they didn't think I would be able to do what I can do now. Then I get diagnosed with breast cancer. And I'm like, all right. And I somehow walked in there, I was 43, talking, and 2 years ago. But when I look back, I got the diagnosis the day my grandmother passed away, the same day. So our body knows dates, doesn't know years. So like April 1st was hard for me, you know, like you don't know why you feel that way until you go in and say like, why? So I was like, all right, God, I'm not listening. I'm still going full speed. I'm doing these things, but I am not healing the emotional root. So I researched, well, first I came to Arnold. And what did I do?
Right.
I came in like, Arnold, and he's like, like what he said, it's the best gift you'll ever get. And I'm like, I love you, Arnold, like, and I want to believe you, but I wasn't fully in yet. But there was something in me that, I call it stubborn, but it's just strength. It's just knowing, like, my kids are the most important thing to me. And I was still going through a tough divorce. There was no way that I was losing those kids. And I knew in my heart, if I did chemo, I would die. I just knew it. I knew it. It wasn't fear, it was just, I'm sensitive, which I love. I'm a highly sensitive person. It's HSP. I don't do well with medication. And I'm like, there's no way, even if I didn't die, I couldn't care for them. And F that, like, I was like, I'm not going to lose my kids, you know? So I decided I'm healing naturally. I had Arnold's. I sought out anyone that could help me, anyone. I was like, I would pray about it. My girlfriend would send resources. I found a doctor that I'll talk more about that does natural IV therapy. He supported me. I found an acupuncturist that taught me Eastern medicine. He supported me. I found Linda doing Reiki and IET in Lansdale. She supported me. And it was beautiful. And without those 4 people, I'm good term. Those 4 people, I don't think I could have done it without having somebody say, because I wish I could have that unwavering faith that I didn't need anyone, but I just didn't know how to do it. Like, I was like, I am healing this, I just don't know how. And then I can't really read that much still, so I did audiobooks, I talk a lot, luckily. I talked to anyone I could talk to about it, and I researched I researched